In Luke chapter 14, Jesus turns everything upside down because after all, he is the king of a completely upside down kind of kingdom. He came to turn things upside down, which is really turning them right side up. And in this chapter, he says some crazy stuff. He says some disturbing things. He says some hard things that are kind of tough for us to wrap our brain around, but let's give it a shot. He tells us that the secret to greatness is humbleness. If we want to go high, we need to get low. In verses 11 through 13, this is what he says. He says, listen, if you lift yourself up, you'll be put down. But if you humble yourself, you'll be honored. Jesus still wasn't finished. Now he turned to the host who had invited him to this gathering. He was at this little social party thing. And he says to him, when you host a dinner or a banquet, don't invite your friends, your brothers, your relatives, or your rich neighbors. If you do, they might invite you to a party of their own, and you'll be repaid for your kindness. Okay, don't invite people just to get invited. Instead, invite the poor, the amputees, the cripples, the blind. Then you'll be blessed because they can never repay you. Your reward will come from God at the resurrection of the just and good. So Jesus first tells us, here's who's going to get invited to my party. Here's who you need to invite. Invite people who could never repay you. Be nice to people who could never repay you. Bless people who could never bless you back. Here's who gets invited to the party. Boom! And it's not the TMZ crowd. It's people who won't get invited to any other party. And all of us know what that feels like. Most of us have gone where we know that our friends are getting invited to a party and we're not. And we're sitting at home alone and it's no fun. Well, Jesus comes along and says, guess what? You guys are all invited to my little party. And he tells us that the people who are dishonored on earth will be honored in the kingdom. The held back will be lifted up. The people who have been held back, the people who have been oppressed, those are the people that in the kingdom are going to be lifted up, that are going to be honored, that are going to be given those places of honor. Okay, and it's not the people in People magazine, it's not the TMZ crowd. It's just ordinary folks. And then Jesus says something crazy. He says something hard. He says something that makes you go kind of, what? What is he trying to say here? In verses 26 and 27, he says this, if any of you come to me without hating your own father, mother, wife, children, brothers, sisters, and yes, even your own life, you can't be my disciple. What? If you don't carry your own cross as if to your own execution as you follow me, you can't be a part of my movement. That's crazy. That's hard. He's making this real strong point, and he's getting our attention and trying to get it in a real strong way and letting us know that our love for him must be stronger. It must be greater. It must be louder than any other love. In comparison, because our love for him is so strong and so bright, it makes every other love look pale in comparison, look almost like hate. In this context, hate just means love less. We need to love everything less than Christ. Okay, even our own life, even our own relatives, even the people around us, our friends. Those relationships are good, but they need to pale in comparison to the passion and the love that we have for Jesus. 3 words, Christ before everything. Christ before everything. That needs to be kind of our motto and our goal and what we judge everything else by. Then he wraps it up with this campaign promise that I've never heard anybody campaigning for office say. In his verse 33, and he says this, if you want to be my disciple, it will cost you everything. Don't underestimate that cost. Talk about full disclosure. There you go. Jesus says this. You want to follow me? It's going to cost you everything. Take up your cross and follow me. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a cakewalk. Don't expect it to be. You're going to have to give up everything. And Jesus says to us, give up everything you have, and I will give you everything I have. And that's a trade I am most willing to make. And I fall at his feet and say, here's everything I've got. God, please, I want to follow you with everything I've got. Love like you never loved before. Okay, and live like you've never lived before. Live in service of the kingdom, and live for the backwards kingdom, the upside down kingdom that's ran by the upside down king who makes everything right. God bless you guys. Giddy up.